Citizens Patrol is a community-based volunteer organization dedicated to reducing crime in our neighborhoods. This cooperative effort among citizens, businesses, elected officials, and law enforcement provides an extra set of eyes and ears for law enforcement. After attending a 2-hour training class conducted along with local law enforcement, pairs of volunteers travel to our streets in their own unmarked vehicles. These volunteers do not intervene, but rather take notes, observe, and report crimes in progress. Once trained, the volunteers have a heightened awareness and greater understanding of crime in their neighborhood. In addition, volunteers learn how to avoid becoming a victim. Volunteers using cellular telephones to provide location and description to local law enforcement. Citizens Patrol organizations should have a base from which to operate. This can be any space that will offer the privacy necessary, such as an office or home. Volunteers are expected to arrive 15 minutes prior to their patrol time. Upon arriving, they meet with the dispatcher to be briefed on the night's agenda and important updates on crime. Local law enforcement assists by compiling crime statistics and information pertaining to crime trends, which is made available to volunteers before they start patrol. Volunteers are also expected to arrive on time and be mentally and physically prepared to patrol. A volunteer may not be under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or any medicine, or be in possession of a weapon of any kind. In addition, a volunteer must maintain a professional demeanor at all times, representing Citizens Patrol in an exemplary fashion. The job of the Citizens Patrol dispatcher is to coordinate the events of the evening, check out the equipment, and ensure that the volunteers are well briefed. The dispatcher remains in contact with the volunteers through the use of cellular telephones throughout the evening. In addition, the volunteers are to make hourly calls to the dispatcher to check in. To further ensure volunteer safety, each volunteer is required to participate in the dispatch procedure prior to their patrol. By participating in the dispatch procedure, volunteers are safer and more effective on the streets. While on patrol, volunteers must always know their location, obey all traffic laws, and remain alert. You will be given a beat to patrol and certain areas within your beat on which to concentrate. While driving, you will be observing the behavior of all people on the street and taking notes and gathering information. This might be useful to law enforcement. You can expect many hours of quiet, uneventful patrolling. Because knowing your location is essential, this quiet period should be an excellent time to familiarize yourself with your area by learning the streets and landmarks on your beat, and a good time to practice giving good descriptions. The Citizens Patrol volunteer must be prepared for evenings of little activity. Do not expect crime to roll out into the street in front of you. As any police officer will tell you, it's rare for a crime to take place in your presence. If the night is slow, you may want to pull the car over and observe a particular situation, group of people, or location. You can spend time testing each other's abilities to accurately describe people and vehicles. Tagging is a crime with which we've had a lot of success. In this scene, the Citizens Patrol volunteers observe what they suspect to be a graffiti vandal painting on a wall. As you can see, they observe the tagger from a safe distance while calling the police and recording the description and location in their log. In this instance, no intervention is required. The patrollers are careful to maintain their anonymity throughout the incident so that they are able to get as much information as possible and remain safe. A volunteer's first priority is to his or her own safety. The police don't need another victim. This incident can be dangerous if not handled correctly. Upon witnessing the fight, One volunteer immediately calls the appropriate law enforcement agency, while the other records the descriptions and locations of the people involved. Each is potentially a witness, but it is the volunteer who is not making the phone call that can be the best witness. A volunteer may be tempted to begin giving information as soon as the police dispatcher answers the phone. This, however, is not the good procedure. Because the police know what information they need, it is best to wait for them to start asking the questions. After identifying yourself as a Citizens Patrol volunteer, give your location and advise that you have an incident to report. The police will then begin asking questions. Do not volunteer information at this point because it will only slow the process down and delay the appropriate action. The police will prioritize your call based on its relative importance compared to other calls they are receiving. Do not expect the incident you are reporting to be given a greater priority just because it is being reported by Citizens Patrol. Once the volunteer has concluded his conversation with the police, he may continue to observe the people involved from a safe distance. Under no circumstances, however, is a volunteer to ever leave the safety of the vehicle. In addition, the volunteers must always be aware of their surroundings because there may be situations to be concerned with other than the one on which they are focused. Paying attention to your surroundings is very important. Citizens Patrol can contribute to the overall feeling of safety and well-being in your community. It can work as a standalone organization or in cooperation with other volunteer groups such as Neighborhood Watch, graffiti abatement groups, volunteers in policing, school groups, and retired senior volunteer patrols. By becoming a Citizens Patrol volunteer, you'll receive the personal satisfaction that you helped make your community a safer place in which to live.